to curb the spread of the coronavirus, the government has proposed to have both employees from both public and private companies work from home, with only essential staff operating from offices. According to the Kenya Federation of Employers, FKE, the move is welcome as it will reduce the spread of the virus, but more needs to be done to cushion and incentivize businesses.
It was the first time that the head of state was addressing the nation since the confirmation of the first case of COVID-19 on Kenyan soil. President Kenyatta announced the confirmation of 2 more infections, necessitating additional measures to safeguard the country, including the shutdown of schools and travel restrictions on foreign nationals from countries with confirmed cases of COVID-19. But the farthest reaching measure impacts directly on the business community.
Government offices, businesses, and companies are encouraged to allow employees to work from home, with the exception of employees working in critical or essential services.
The president's move was welcomed by the Kenya Federation of Employers.
Obviously, it's going to impact business in terms of productivity levels and output, but this is a necessary step which has to be taken to avert the spread of the virus to a larger segment of the population, because that in itself also has major costs and implications on how Kenya will operate. So we understand it.
The measures will, however, come at a cost for employers, with companies taking extra hygiene measures to protect their employees and enabling their employees work from home.
But there is also a role for government to play in terms of cushioning the impact of the steps that are going to have to be taken by business in terms of scaling down. Who, for instance, should bear the cost of the absence from work? How do we treat it? Is it time off? Is it sick leave? Could we have a special fund and a special provision for those who are forced to be away from work so that we fund it from the national reserves?
FKE says that its members have already begun evaluating various roles within their companies to determine who can work from home to help nip the spread of the deadly virus.
Companies that have factories, those obviously have to run to ensure that there is provision of goods and services to the economy. We cannot collapse that. Every enterprise has to look at its operations and its basic mandate to determine which of those services can either be scaled down or done off-site at home, and which category of employees have to report to work.
Kenya's formal economy accounts for about 10 million staff. Of these, 3 million are salaried, while the rest earn a daily wage. The unprecedented scale of the coronavirus is expected to affect several businesses negatively as days continue. For now, companies are assessing their situation and taking appropriate measures. Henry Gedaiga, KTN News.
Well, and that discussion now takes us to our next area of focus, that report actually, where we want to still stay with the corona effect on the economy. And joining me here in studio, we have Vincent Kimosop, who is a tax analyst, and he'll be just helping us navigate through these murky waters. Thank you, sir, for making time.
Anytime. Welcome. How are you?
I'm very fine.
You're safe?
I'm safe, I've sanitized, and I've kept the social distance.
Is this a meetup from...
I believe so.
Okay, sir.
Quite unfortunate developments for the world, Kenya not being spared. So far, 3 confirmed cases.
Yes.
And we are seeing the president did issue a number of measures so as to ensure that we place a lead on the rapid spread of the virus. One of the key recommendations, of course, is closing all the public institutions and private institutions. That involves the universities, high schools, primary schools, and not forgetting also a ban on traveling from countries where the COVID-19 has been reported. How will this perhaps in the immediate term affect, of course, transport for the kids coming from the students coming from schools, and of course supplies, because parents perhaps had not foreseen that their children will be coming home earlier than the closing dates, which are in 2 weeks' time.
I think we have to appreciate that when there is a dangerous thing like this, all options first, you have to take all measures to safeguard life. So as we know very well that even in our Constitution, Article 26, that everybody has a right to life. So when we come to life, everything becomes secondary. And when you look at the current situation, we even do not need to ask, will it have ramifications on the economy? Already we are seeing ramifications on the economy. Just think about the tourism and its nexus with the hospitality sector.
Sure.
When there are no tourists arriving at JKIA, the implication direct is that there will be no taxis doing good business that is moving those visitors all the way to the different hotels. As a result, you will have empty rooms, and then empty rooms, there will be no food that will be cooked for people. So the supply chain has a ripple effect. And that, of course, affects a supplier who was supplying eggs. I'm trying to take it as basic as possible to the person who is on the ground. Vegetables, potatoes. So that entire supply chain is affected.
Yeah.
And, of course, you know very well that economics is about ability to trade goods and services for a certain value. So that is a distorted section. I think I commend the president for taking the lead. Because as the CEO think about a country as a corporation, it is good to give the right signal. So that, for me, was a step in the right direction.
All right.
I would say that it would be critical that then that momentum be kept by having credible and authoritative people continuing to give the information. Why I'm saying this is that this is a health issue. It means, therefore, it is a health / a public health issue. We need to maintain that consistency of the people who are giving credible information, because WHO has said that they're not only now worried about just the virus, they're more concerned about the propaganda, the fear, the distortions that is traveling faster in the age of technology.
True. And Vincent, still staying with this speech by the president, he did also bring in the fact that employers should consider allowing employees to work from home, especially those offering non-essential services. From the structure of Kenya's economy, we are looking at a formal population of about 10 million.
Yes.
And of course, out of this, 3 million are salaried staff working in offices. The 7 million is captured as the informal sector, but a bit formalized.
Yeah.
These are now the people who we find running a shop down street. They have a kiosk, and all these people are being asked to consider working from home. Of course, also the civil service, which also has a huge chunk of the population base. Again, I say it's a good gesture. I had an organization, so I've allowed my staff, I've taken cue, and I've allowed the staff that I lead to work from home. But how viable is this in the first place? But when you really look at, that's what I'm saying, let's be positive by commending the gesture, but the practicality of it, you can see how many people, you need to be here in an information technology. There are people behind you facilitating the delivery of the news. I needed to be here. I think the size of the economy and the number of people who are able to actually leverage on that is not much because of the nature and the type of the economy that we have. I think those who are able to use internet, because it means that you should be able to have either home connection, you should be able to, for those who want to use internet, you should also be able to purchase Wi-Fi. So when you look at that cost and the number of people, it is not many people. Our economy is still mainly based on interactions, so somebody opening a shop, people physically going there. Those who have been able to do that have been facilitated by Mobitech, the ability to transact on your phone, so having the Jumias, the online purchase, but the depth and the size of it in our economy is not significant, however welcome this gesture is. So I would say that it is important that massive public education is done because of the bigger population that has a big influence and impact and play within our economy. That for me would be, it's better we do that because the number of people who would benefit from such, think about the Huduma centers. Just look at the number of people who would want to go. Government offices, there is still a lot of people who are, many are those who require to be interacted, offer services, photocopy, as in, but it's a good gesture. Let us see how to, not to stop at that, but to facilitate the many who needs to do something to earn a living. All
We're
right.
living in difficult times. We just came from the, what is it, the locusts.
Yes.
Then, as in, I would say there is a rapid response on corona. I think the president's cabinet needs to rethink about an economic program to revamp this economy, because
Post-corona.
Post-corona.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've been speaking there to Vincent Kimosop, who is just shedding some light into this matter of national concern, that is the coronavirus and the implications it has on the economy. My two takeaways from him is that, of course, as a country, we need to definitely be very proactive when it comes to ensuring our hygiene is top-notch. By this we mean washing your hands regularly and, of course, avoiding public spaces that might expose you. We are taking a quick commercial break. We still have another exciting interview coming up where my colleague Nwakip Kemboi spoke to James Shikwati on the implications for the social economy. Coming up shortly.